Welcome back. It's time to review the front pages of our national dailies and see what made it there. As usual, we kickstart with a Daily Trust. 7 women protesters killed in Adamawa, and that's on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper if you want more on that story. Genocide, U.S. lawmakers visit Benue, and that's on page 39 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Troops kill bandits, rescue victims in Sokoto. That's on page 37 of the Daily Trust. 17 agencies scored 0 inefficiency rating, says report, and that's on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. EFCC seals Silver's residence, that's on page 46 of the Daily Trust. And court declines Nnamdi Kanu's request for prison transfer, and that's on page 46 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And lastly, we have our ordeal in the bush, rescued Niger student. That's on page 10 of the Daily Trust newspaper. If you want more on that story and other stories, do well to get yourself a copy.
Next up, we have the Nigerian Tribune right in front. Insecurity, miners tackle northern governors, reject call for ban on mining. That's on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. At the top left, we have $2.4 billion Eurobond oil receipts. Remittances drive Nigeria's $7.5 billion reserves surge, says research. That's on page 5. We have court bars AMCON appointed lawyer from getting GHL over disobedience of court order. That's on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. We have Turaki-led PDP governors, others hold marathon meetings amid convention plans by Wiki's camp. That's on page 15 of the Nigerian Tribune. We have Reps quiz NERC over 109 moribund licenses, accuses Discos of unethical practices. That's on page 28 of the Nigerian Tribune. Tinubu in separate meetings with Fubara, 7 APC governors. That's on page 15 as well. ICPC Works Ministry begin nationwide audit of 760 road projects. That's on page 27. On health, dengue vaccine gains first major approval. That's on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Gunman murder pastor's wife, raise house vehicles in Anambra Church, kill 4 in another community. That's on page 26. NSA hands over 100 rescued pupils to Niger governor. That's on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. And last but not the least, United States Congressman Moore says security talks with Nigeria productive. That's on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, joining us to review the front pages of our national dailies this morning is Director, Daily Trust Foundation, Dr. Theophilus Abai. He's here with us in the studio. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, let's start off with Daily Trust. As we can see, 7 women protesters killed in Adamawa, according to reports, during a protest that happened in Lamoride local government area of Adamawa State. It was gathered that, these women were protesting, and what they termed delayed response by the military to claim tensions between Bachama and Chobo communities of the local government area when the incident happened. So what is your take on this?
Well, I think it's quite unfortunate that it happened because we didn't expect protesters to be killed. At least when they are protesting, I understand that they were protesting when the commander got to the community, and we were thinking that if there was going to be any way of dissuading them from protesting, just to keep talking to them, not to shoot at them, and unless there was an attempt to mob the commander, because to shoot at the women who were protesting is quite unfortunate. And then the major issue, which was what the women raised, although expecting the military to maybe conduct an investigation and come up with a convincing report, the major reason was because they called on the military to come and help, and then there was no swift response. And this will be the first time we hear this kind of complaint, that there will be conflict, the security agencies will be invited, will be asked to come and intervene, and there will be no intervention until the damage is already done. And one of the things we have kept telling government or the security operators, look, you have to you have to review how commands are given, for military men or the security agencies to enter into conflict zone and quell conflicts. Those communities tell that, we heard that these guys were coming to attack us. We contacted the police, contacted the army, then nothing happened. And then in some places to hear, I think it was not in Kebbi State, where the governor was even complaining that, look, 45 minutes before the bandits came, that the soldiers who were stationed close to the school left. You understand? So when these things continue to happen, it means that the military will need to review its operations. Because the reason why you have the army, you have the police, or whatsoever, other military officials, is for them to intervene and prevent people from being massacred. But if the army will not come, if the police will not come and allow the people to become victims, people to be killed, communities destroyed, before they come in and say, okay, and ask what happened, it's quite unfortunate. That is not how it's supposed to be. We expect them to intervene and prevent, violence from taking place. Between the two communities, I expected that if the army had intervened early enough, there wouldn't be massacre that took place, or the killing that led to the protest would not have taken place. So I think now we have a new leadership, the Minister of Defense. We have a new Minister of Defense. Even all the service chiefs, I think they are all new. They need to sit down and look at this thing, because this need to be the first time for over 10, 15 years now, since we've been having insecurity in Nigeria. People kept complaining that we'll call the army, we'll call the police to intervene. They will not intervene until the damage has already been done. And something has to be done about that situation. It has to be changed. And now for the killing of these women, I see that there has to be a probe. There has to be a probe, convincing probe, to say, okay, why would these women be killed? And those who did the killing, if they did it wrongly, they have to be punished.
All right. Let's look at this story. We've seen that U.S. lawmakers visit Benue over alleged genocide, Christian genocide in Nigeria, and they came for a fact-finding mission. So what is your take on this, and how do you think this would pan out?
When I heard about the coming of the U.S. Lawmakers, I was thinking that they would just come and maybe discuss with, Nigeria security agencies and then go back. But they are going to locations to do fact-finding activities. If they heard that so and so place was attacked, they heard that there was violence there, they heard that there was killing here, they are going there to interview people to find out what actually happened
in the community,
in those communities. But do you know one thing? Nigerian lawmakers have not done this. You have not heard the House of Reps go to Benue to go and do fact-finding activities. You have not heard the Senate, But these are Americans who came all the way from another world. They are here. They say they want to find out. This is not their business, sincerely. It's not their business. It's our own business. It is the affairs of Nigeria. The National Assembly members are representing the people. But you have not seen them go there on fact-finding mission. Even as security agency, we've not seen enough fact-finding done by them. Even the House of Assembly in Benue State or in Plateau State, where you have these genocide issues coming up, I don't think there's a comprehensive report, that talks about, these guys went there, interviewed people, they took pictures, they have video evidence, they do forensic investigation into whatever has happened. Even the House of Assemblies will not do it. But these Americans came all the way. They just want to say, okay, we are categorizing Nigeria as a country where there's genocide. Is it true? You understand? That's what they want to find out. And they have to go to the location. And that's how investigations are conducted. But the National Assembly has not done it. Neither the Senate nor the House of Reps. They've not done any of these investigations. So even if I don't know what they will discover, but for the fact that they decided to even go to Benue, to go to location, it shows that, look, they are serious-minded. They are not just people who just come and drink tea, stay in a Transcorp hotel, and then fly back to America and say, oh, we have discovered that there's no genocide, or there's genocide, based on maybe interviews with people in Abuja. They decide to go to Benue. Do you know that there are some lawmakers from Benue who may not want to go to Yelwata or all the places where violence are? They will not even want to go. They say, I don't want to be killed. So I think I will commend the U.S. lawmakers. And I think that Nigerian lawmakers should learn a lesson from this kind of a thing. Because every time there is violence, there needs to be a thorough investigation. And the National Assembly, it has the powers to do investigation. In fact, it's one of the duties of the National Assembly to find out how things happened and then know what remedy to apply. And so I think it's the right step they have taken, even if, they don't get the result or their hypothesis is not proved right. But being able to go to locations, to go and find out what exactly happened, is a very good step. And I commend them for that.
Okay, let's touch on this headline. Troops kill bandits, rescue victims in Sokoto. As we also report, news of insurgency. It is important as well when we hear, this exciting news about our troops being involved in rescuing victims from bandits. So we have this headlines here concerning that. What is your take on that? It was reported that traders were traveling from a particular village in Sabon Birni that is in Sokoto. It's a local government area in Sokoto, and the troops had gunshots and then they intervened swiftly. So what is your take on this?
Well, I think, like you mentioned, that is a very positive development, very good development, because if they're able to rescue the victims before they are kidnapped, that is a great development. And I think that has been happening in recent weeks. Where you hear that troops prevented it from happening. They went into the bandits' enclave and they destroyed it, they burnt it down. And so we're hearing a whole lot of that. And I'm thinking that the best thing is for them to do more. Because I think there was a paper that carried the story recently that there were about 350 camps of bandits, all over. And if these camps are known, if we can do major investigation to discover that, look, these bandits are in so camps, then it's good to dislodge them, to destroy those camps so that they can be scattered. That is the first thing to do. We shouldn't wait for bandits to attack, before we deal with them. Most times, if you wait for them to attack, you are actually, being on the defensive. But if we now know, okay, this is where they are located, this is where they are staying, they have occupied this forest. And I think the president even talked about, the DSS taking steps to secure the forests. If we know that they are in certain forests, we now have to go there and flush them out of those forests. That is what should be done. Because I don't think that if you are living in the forest, you become a threat to the ordinary Nigerian, capturing people on the highway and all this and all that. So it's very, very good. Well, it's a good development what happened in Sokoto, but we want the military to be proactive. Let's find out where these guys are and then flush them out. Anybody who wants to, create a problem, it's better you even prevent that problem from being created than for you to allow them to cause damages before we begin to remedies.
All right, before we go, just a few seconds, this headline picked my attention. We've seen that 17 agencies scored 0 in efficiency ranking so far. So no fewer than 16 federal government agencies have been ranked completely inefficient by the Presidential Establishing Business Environment Council in its latest Business Facilitation Act. And this performance shows that it is these agencies have not been enabling when it comes to conducting business in Nigeria. So what is your take on this, and how do you think this continuously affects the economy in Nigeria?
Actually, I was surprised because, violence took over the front page, is that not? You have the 7 women protesters killed and all. But that is the kind of story that we want to see on the front page. You know why? When you say you are not efficient, you know that you are not doing what you ought to do. That is what it means. Right. That you are not doing what you ought to. So you now have these agencies of government not doing what they ought to do. Right. So the question is that why are they collecting salaries? Why are you giving them annual budgets if they are not doing what they ought to do?
All right. Thank you very much,
Theophilus
Abba, for shedding so much light on the stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Absolutely. All right, with that, we've come to the end of Daybreak on Trust TV. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. so don't miss out on engaging and interesting conversations as always. I'm Hawa Adamikiawa. Thank you for watching.
And I am Mimuna Bagudu. Do well to follow us on all of our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news. Have a great day. Bye-bye.